at the diverging lines on this chart. On one side, law enforcement staffing levels are dropping. On the other, the sheer complexity of modern investigations is rising sharply. You can't close a gap that wide just by ramping up recruiting or relying on legacy patrol tactics. Agencies are being forced to turn to technology to act as a force multiplier, doing more with the fewer officers they actually have. To make that work, you need a central nervous system. That's the Real-Time Crime Center, or RTCC. It's a single, unified hub designed to process a city's scattered intelligence all at once. This diagram illustrates how those pieces connect. You have massive amounts of information flowing from individual sensor nodes on the left, drones, body-worn cameras, and field biometric tools, and streaming directly into a highly secure, CJIS-compliant cloud hub. But building that network is only half the problem. The success of all this hardware relies on this exact formula. You can take your advanced capabilities, add your operational efficiency, but you have to multiply it by community trust to actually output public safety. It is a zero-sum calculation. If the community trust variable hits zero, everything else collapses. Technologies get banned, fleets get grounded, and the capabilities become entirely useless. Let's look at the first part of that equation, advanced capabilities in action. When a high-stakes call comes in, a quadcopter can deploy immediately from an automated docking station, climbing straight into the airspace above the city. This flowchart tracks that drone as first responder, or DFR, deployment lifecycle. The trigger sequence starts right at 911 dispatch, bypassing the delay of officers sprinting to their vehicles and initiating an autonomous launch. Because it travels as the crow flies, the drone beats ground units to the scene. Moving to the overwatch phase here on the timeline, the drone begins streaming live high-definition video directly to command, spotting escape routes or identifying whether a suspect is armed. That early visual intelligence is critical. It gives human officers a clear picture of the threat level before they even park their cruisers, effectively lowering the temperature of chaotic situations. But getting a drone into the air is more complicated than buying the hardware. Agencies run headfirst into strict operational limits set by the Federal Aviation Administration to keep the airspace safe. The right side column on this FAA graphic outlines the solution. By securing advanced waivers, specifically for Beyond Visual Line of Sight, or BVLOS operations, agencies can legally fly drones past the pilot's direct line of sight, turning a localized camera into a citywide tactical asset. That covers capability. For the operational efficiency part of the equation, we have to look at the data itself. Gathering thousands of hours of video and audio creates a massive investigative liability if you don't have the manpower to actually review it. This diagram illustrates the fix. With an AI core at the center, the system automatically ingests all those fragmented raw data streams from the left and sorts them instantly. Following the specific output pipelines on the right, you see exactly where that time is saved. The software handles automated video redaction for public records requests and instantly transcribes body camera audio into draft reports. And that back-end efficiency translates directly to the pavement through advanced biometric tools used by patrol officers. Look at the call-out bubble under Step 1 on this workflow graphic. An officer can capture a fingerprint or scan and get a positive identification back in just 60 seconds, entirely eliminating the hours usually wasted transporting someone back to the precinct. None of this software replaces an officer's judgment. It simply strips away systemic administrative delays, putting cops back on patrol faster and with highly precise information. Which brings us back to the multiplier. The hardware is reliable and the software works, but the community trust variable remains completely volatile. If the public believes these tools are being used for widespread, unchecked surveillance, the pushback is immediate. Lawsuits are filed, budgets get slashed, and the gear sits in a locker gathering dust. To keep a program alive, an agency must adhere to the 3 pillars of public legitimacy shown here: procedural transparency, respectful interactional distancing, and fair distributive justice across all neighborhoods. Practically, that translates to the dual panels of this playbook. Inside the precinct, you need strict audit logs and command authorizations. Outside, the public gets live transparency dashboards that actively broadcast where the drones are flying and exactly why. Building that trust right now is a prerequisite, because the technology arriving around 2026 will test those boundaries even further. As this development timeline moves upward, we see tools like coordinated multi-drone swarm formations and augmented reality smart glasses projecting floor plans directly into an officer's field of vision. These systems will dramatically expand what a single police department can physically achieve. But no amount of processing power or aerial coverage will ever outweigh the necessity of a community actually believing its police force is acting in its best interest.